The character of Lucy Coe has been a fan favorite ever since the first appeared on General Hospital back in 1986. Portrayer Lynn Herring was only hired for a short-term gig, but the character became so popular she stuck around and was even used to help launch the GH spin-off, Port Charles, in 1997. But as she isn't seen quite as frequently these days, some newer viewers might not be aware that she's led quite the wild life. Lucy was originally a mousy librarian who was involved with Kevin O'Connor in acting as his alibi in a murder case. Breaking out of her shell, she later had an affair with Bobby Spencer's husband Jake, married Tony Jones, and then tied the knot with Alan Quartermain wearing a scandalous red dress at their wedding ceremony. Lucy and Scotty started as lovers but ended up as friends. On Galella, Limited/Wire image. While married to Alan, Lucy had an affair with Scotty Baldwin, and became pregnant. After miscarrying his child, she ended up with Scotty, but later left town. When she returned, Lucy found that Scotty had fallen in love with Dominique, who had fatal brain cancer. Having turned over a new leaf, Lucy agreed to be their surrogate, and although dying of an inoperable brain tumor, Dominique lived long enough to hear her baby's heartbeat, but sadly, she was not alive when Lucy gave birth to Serena in a cabin during a blizzard. After Scotty was forced to flee town by the mob, Lucy fell in with Damian Smith and returned to her scheming ways, betting him he couldn't seduce Bobby away from Tony. But during this time, Lucy met Kevin Collins, who helped her return to the kinder, gentler woman Dominique had believed in before her untimely death. Things got spooky for Kevin and Lucy in Port Charles. Scott Garfield/ABC Things then took a stranger turn for a while as Lucy and Kevin discovered that his daughter, Livy, was being seduced by a vampire named Caleb. After vanquishing the evil bloodsucker, Kevin threw a surprise wedding and Lucy finally married her Doc. With their lives now full of magic and mystery, the appearance of another creature of the night, Stephen Clay, led Lucy to discover she was actually a vampire slayer, at least for a little while. Lucy was also instrumental in creating the annual Nurses' Ball for General Hospital to raise funds for AIDS research, although after a while, a lack of funding brought the gala event to an end. But in 2012, nurses Sabrina Santiago and Felix Dubois tracked down Lucy to help revive the ball. Lucy's return to Port Charles got a little complicated when she thought John McBain was the vampire Caleb and Sam McCall was Livy, but it was later revealed that musician Stephen Clay was insane and believed himself to be a vampire named Caleb. You can always count on Lucy to put on a spectacular show. Howard Wise/JapaStudios.com. With Kevin spending so much time out of town with patients, Lucy distracted herself by trying to relaunch Deception Cosmetics with Laura Spencer, but it never got off the ground. While helping Scott run for district attorney, they grew closer and slept together. Although Lucy wanted to remain married to Kevin, she couldn't deny her feelings for Scott and her marriage came to an end. Sadly, Lucy was shocked to discover Scott was also sleeping with Bobby and devastated when the cat chose to be with the redhead instead. Lucy found herself wrapped up in Morgan Corinthus' death after catching Ava Jerome dumping the young man's medication in the trash. While she was able to use that knowledge to extort a donation to the Nurses' Ball from Ava, it cast a pall over that year's event as she felt guilty about helping Ava cover up her part in Morgan's death. During the ball, Sonny and Carly confronted Lucy, who tearfully confessed everything she knew. Ever the entrepreneur, Lucy also got into the real estate business and has helped broker sales of some Port Charles properties including Sonny's restaurant, Pizzillo's. She was also the one to break the news to Scott that his father, Lee, had passed away and helped him set up an intimate memorial for him. And when Kevin found himself in court due to his involvement in Ryan Chamberlain's killing spree, Lucy was there to support her Doc. And even as she prepared for the 2019 Nurses' Ball, Lucy still found time to stick her nose into Kevin's business. Sasha wasn't sure about the job, but Lucy can be very persuasive. ABC/Valerie Durant. Lucy penned a travel guide to Port Charles and finally managed to relaunch Deception, hiring Sasha Gilmore as a partner and also the new face of the brand. When Maxie Jones quit Crimson, Lucy snatched her up to come work with her. But both women were upset to learn that Lucy had gotten her financial backing from Valentine Cassadine. Lucy's business took a turn when hiring Brooklyn Quartermain to perform a song during a presentation when the young woman's throat injury prevented her from singing and she tried, and failed, to lip-sync to Amy Driscoll's vocals. When Sasha feared losing her job because she got pregnant, Lucy instead was excited to use a new angle and sell cosmetics to expectant mothers. However, Lucy was less excited to learn that Scott was dating Lisa Lobrecht, and even gave him a smack to try and knock some sense into him. Stay tuned to see how Lucy's story continues. Love GH? Be sure to join our We Love General Hospital Facebook group to chat about all the latest storylines and juicy gossip. Ad block test, why?